with the onion. What is it, Baba? What is it? What's going on?
You know, when you get to the kitchen, there are a lot of things you experience. And one of them is the onion. Sometimes it gets teary.
Yes, the onion is the...
I was just trying to get to the inside of this onion.
How is that going for you? How is it going for you?
It's a rotten one. This is a bad onion.
And it is going to make you cry.
And I'm equally crying.
Welcome to the show, man. Sometimes, Ellie, these are subconscious things that are at the back of your mind. These are things that you're not even aware that they're in the surface, but you're projecting them in a way. So I normally say, if you're feeling the need to check your partner's phone, find out why. What's propelling this desire? What's causing you to be at that place where you want to verify whether your partner is trustworthy, is reliable, they have the ability to remain faithful in that particular relationship. Ellie, ask me a question. Good evening, everybody. Are you excited? Today we are talking about in-laws. We are talking about in-laws. What are we to do with these people? My God. And you know the funny thing about in-laws is that when the tables are turned, when you're the one who is being the in-law, you don't even realize it. So we are thinking, it's crazy. So the topic is hot. So share the link, invite everybody. I want to send a shout out to everybody who has joined us. But in case you're wondering, where is Eli? I also don't know. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him. I'm hoping he's going to show up at some point. Due to public demand, Eli, show yourself mighty and great. Good evening, my brother.
Hello, Nyokabi, GK, Kamau. Always a pleasure to join you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling fantastic. Today we are talking about in-laws, man. In-laws.
Yeah, but you know, everybody might be wondering, and why is it interesting to talk about in-laws? Because we mentioned them at one point. Why again this time round? And guess what?
Well,
we have all the answers because GK Kamau is here. And of course, you was truly ready to take you to the next height, sea level. Remember, this is Late Night with GK Kamau and you was truly Ellie Likuyani. Follow the page on those handles. That is Nyokabi GK Kamau on Facebook, Nyokabi GK Kamau LinkedIn, Nyokabi GK Kamau on Nyokabi GK on Instagram. And if you find it more interesting, I don't mind you following us back on Facebook, YouTube, and all those other social handles. That is Likuyani Eli on Facebook, The Arts in Heart on Instagram, The Arts in Heart Official on YouTube, and The Arts in Heart at gmail.com. Always to reach us with emails and all other exactly. Those are the contents. And I just lost Nyokabi. What happened, Nyokabi, over there?
Somebody's calling me. Somebody ananiona anasema, I know this chick.
I know this girl.
Please stop calling. I'm using my phone to stream this thing. Stop calling me after. Call me after.
And for everybody else who is watching us from the multi-stream, remember, you can catch us right now live on the Arts in Heart Facebook. Of course, that is equally on YouTube. We are equally live there and we are streaming, responding to live streaming, Nyokabi GK Kamau, and also streaming on Tina Kagia's page. Welcome to the show. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the Late Night, and we are ready to go. Nyokabi, last week, on Saturday, we were having the family edition. And one of the commentaries there said, what do you do in a situation that you are married, you are a couple, and the family of one of your partner refuses to accept the woman or man that you've actually married to? How do you handle that? And that's why it informed our discussion tonight. So join us in the conversation. Send in your comments. Let us know what you think. Remember, the hashtag is Art in Heart. And of course, responding to live. GK.
Yes.
Umeoleka?
Niko na mutu.
Uko na mutu. Mutu na mutu na ye.
Nimebambwa. Nimepatilikana. Alinipata. Nilikuwa nimekaa tu hivi akanipata. his problem,
Nakupata.
but it's all right, it's all right.
Yeah.
Unajua nimenotice tuko na mashabiki wapya huku ndani, wameingia ndani ya comment section. Wacha
Wako.
tuwasalimie kidogo, wacha tusalimie Sims Kipkotich, hata
Ita majina ya watu vizuri tafadhali. Tafadhali.
wacha
Simon
tupita chini.
Kipkoech, thank you so much for joining us streaming via TK Tina Kagia's page. That is Miss Jane Mugure, always there on time, at in hand, tuned and locked in. Thank you so much. Noreen Ambata, as always. Matthew McLean, of course, that was the man that posed the question that has led to our discussion tonight. Pew Sangu, Simon Kipsang, Kareem Kelly Abdul, and we have Steve Street, Bidi Mangi. Steve
Yes,
Street is there, and Noreen, but of course, we are waiting for the rest of the members. Remember, basi
good
haijaja,
evening,
so itisha
good
wengine.
evening. Good
Good evening.
evening. Watu waingia na watusalimie. They let us know how they are feeling as we get onto this conversation. So like my co-host said that today we are talking about in-laws. And this conversation was triggered by one of our members last Saturday when we had the family edition where we talk about matters family, matters parenting, matters building a healthy relationship with your partner. So he asked a very sensitive question. So what do you do if you're in a relationship with someone, a romantic relationship, leading to marriage or in marriage, and one of your family members has refused to accept, or even better yet, the entire family decides we don't want this mama. She's not the one for you. I
Or
mean,
this guy, or this guy,
or this
he's not of
guy,
our
as in
class.
he's not the one. As in Sisi, in our family, we don't do this kind of people. You know, tribal bases, religious background, some of these challenges that every relationship faces every day. So, what do you do when you're in that kind of a situation and you're in love? And we know that love has no bounds. Love has no boundaries. Love does not respect religion. Love does not respect tribal issues. Love does not respect childhood domains. Love does not respect issues, clan issues that have been there long before you came around. So what do you do in this particular kind of a situation? So we want to have a very engaging conversation, the one-on-one interaction. So I want you to post your questions or the comments and we will be definitely responding to them. So now, Ellie, let's get started. So what happens if one of your family members refuses to accept the person that you have chosen? Do you dump the person, Ellie, and look for another one that's more acceptable? Do you go shopping again? Do you start over? My God, what do you do? What if you even have a child with this person? What if you have built an entire life with this person and your family refuses to accept them? What do you do? Today we are talking about boundaries, 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 boundaries. Ellie, in-laws relationships cannot work without boundaries. So what are these boundaries? Ama tuanza to define who are in-laws. Unajua there are people who think that they're in-laws with somebody. You become an in-law with someone only if you're officially married to the person.
No, you see, Nyokabi, that is way too
Staki
far.
comments.
No,
Staki comments.
no, we are having a conversation, right? So allow me.
Yes.
The kind of modern society we live in, this word you've just used right now, honestly, is not
Yes.
existing. Because
Yes.
right now, you wake up, you close your eyes, the following day, there are clothes in your wardrobe. You ask what is happening here, there are shoes moving in. The next morning, you are told, oh, there's a baby on the way. By the time you realize you were married 5 months ago with the baby number one already there. So let us redefine before you use this in law perspective. Redefine
First of
that
all,
for me.
Ellie, the reason
Yes.
why I have said that is because I want to start a fire. You see, these young girls are walking around here and saying, oh, I talk to my mother-in-law. Oh, I know my mother-in-law, my brothers-in-laws and my cousins-in-laws. They know me. So you think you're in-laws with this person. You're not.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
become in-laws with this person if you are bound together by the law of the country that you're with this person. That is where you become in-laws. The word law. So if your union does not have law applicable to it, then you're not in-laws. This is not to say that people who have stayed together for 10 years, 15 years, they're not married. They are in their heads. Yeah.
Okay, Nyokabi.
Yeah.
That
I
last
know.
part of listen.
You know, Ellie,
If,
we're in trouble because we keep calling a spade a big spoon. We keep calling a spade a big spoon. Let's call a spade a spade. If you just move into a dude's house, he has not asked you to marry him, and you start rearing children. Sorry,
mm,
if you start giving birth to children, correct my English. If you start giving birth, it does not mean that this person has married you. Oh, allow the person to ask you, Do you want to be with me? Do you want to marry me? Do you want to build a life with me? And then go ahead. Because some of these challenges that we experience with our in-laws is because you didn't get into that family the right way. They feel you cheated their brother, you cheated their sister. Go about it the right way. Do the right things. And what is the right thing? Meet your traditional obligations. When you move from your traditional obligations, then meet your religious obligations and start a union on the right footing. Because if I was to build a house early,
Yeah.
and I was to build a 2-story building, and I decided that I wasn't going to dig the foundation, because every house that is being built requires a certain level of grounding. It requires a certain level of foundation. So if I was to build a 2-story building or a 3-story building, and I decided not to lay the right foundation, what's going to happen to this building? Yes, this building will go up. Yes, it will become a 3-story building, but in the process or in the long run, it shall not sustain. It will collapse, it will develop cracks, it will always be having leaking issues because the foundation wasn't laid the right way. And this is not to say that marriages that go through the right process do not face challenges. They face challenges. The difference is they have better shock absorbers. A house that is the foundation is well built, the mitaro zilichimbwa vizuri eli,
Mitaro
mukaweka mawe
zimechimbwa, mitaro zimechimbwa.
mukaweka
Nyokabi.
mukaweka mawe mzuri eli,
Mm.
mukaweka foundation, mukamwaga mchanga,
Kagongelea kabisa
mukabackfill,
na tindo na
mukabondelea,
talimbo.
compact. Yes,
Mm.
you did the things the right way. You're more likely to survive the storms. You're more likely to survive the winds because the foundation is grounded. Eli, this is what we are talking about. In-laws.
Before we even define that into depth, I want
Yes.
me and you to be on the same page, Nyokabi.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This question was posed by one Matthew McLean. And thank you
Yes.
so much, Matthew, for that question. Last week
Yes.
on Family Edition, you asked us, how do young couples approach their parents when their parents who have not yet accepted their marriage? So the point here is they are young couples who
Mm-hmm.
are married. The presumption is there's an existence of a marriage, but the
Yes.
parents do not accept that union. And it has become a mayhem from their previous relationship with parents. And this is best because they had problems previously, when growing up and everything. They always had, ruffles with the parents, and that could
Yes.
be one of the reasons. So we are trying to address this question from that context, and not in the context like mulipatana, mukavuruta ikaingia kwa ingine, alafu things happened. No, we are talking about people who are actually in a union, a marital union, and we have seen it because we know even of stories that mothers will come and tell you, my son, if you really had nothing to marry, you should have married me. What is this thing that you brought here? I'm telling you for a fact, Nyokabi. If you sit where I sit, you hear a lot of things and stories.
Yes.
And you are left wondering, are we even serious? And yes. So I don't know about the audiences, but I do know that these situations exist. So the question is, how do you deal with such parents? Because you expect blessings from these same parents. Niambie tunafanya namna gani, Nyokabi?
First of all, niko na challenge hapa. Munani confuse wewe na Matthew. You're saying that
Tunakusuffocate.
munanichoke. Unajua, you're saying that the parents have refused to accept the marriage. How do you have a marriage when the parents have refused? Unless you went ahead and got married without their blessing and their consent. But now the question I want us to ask ourselves, Eli, how much of the consent do we need from our parents to get married to a
Exactly.
particular person? How much of a go ahead do you require from a parent for you to get married to a particular person? Now, it comes back to the question of what kind of a relationship do you have with your parents? That is number one. Number two, what do you do in your community or within your family? There are families that do certain things a certain way. There are families who you can't get married into their family unless you do a wedding early. There are families who you can't get into that unit. You can't marry a particular tribe because they have an issue with this particular tribe, and so they don't allow intermarriage relationship within different tribes. There are families where
like you people, you have a tendency of jumping over mud, mnajipakapaka matope, you roll over. You know, your parents will be looking at them wondering. So go ahead, Nyokabi.
So these are the questions we are asking ourselves early. When you're looking for the approvals of your parents, what are you looking for? When you're introducing this girl to your parents, what image did they bring? What did they portray? Did they portray themselves as a wife? Did they portray themselves as a girl? And by the way, Ellie, I want to touch this on a very personal level. When I was getting married, when I first went to the home of my husband, the first thing that they did is that they looked at my nails, Ellie. They looked at the 6-inch heels I was wearing. They looked at the fact that I was driving when I was getting there, and this was a problem for them. Why? Because women in their community don't do those kind of things. So they were wondering, this kind Nairobi girl, is she going to make a wife for our brother? You know, is she going to be able to stay at home, clean and cook? Is she willing to give up her work? Is she willing to give up who she is so that she can be able to be a wife to our brother? So these are some of the things that families are looking at. Then it comes back again to you as a person. When you saw Nyokabi, what did you see? Did you see a wife in them? Because one question I asked one of them is, have you ever asked your brother what he was looking for in a wife? Because you seem to know a lot about what he wants in a wife, but have you asked him to tell you? Because when he proposed, he had seen my long nails, he had seen my heels, he had seen me driving. You see, it's not news. So maybe you could ask him, and maybe he could create a picture for you of the ideal wife for him. Because when it comes to marriage, marriage is for two people, Ellie. It has nothing to do with your in-laws and your brothers and your sisters and who. But then again, we can't ignore them because they are a part of your life and they play a very key role in your life, right, Ellie? So when you're going there, what are you looking for? Are you looking for their approval? Are they looking for their acceptance? What grounds are you standing on? Have you and your partner made a decision that we are getting married? Rarely will you ever find a couple that is approved 100%, unless it is an arranged marriage. Unless it is an arranged marriage, those are the ones that you'll find, oh, familiar, they have accepted because you're cousins from different regions, or because you're prominent families, and you know, mtaki pesa yenyu ziende kwa maskini, so prominence marries prominence, or you get the idea, Ellie. So unless it is an arranged marriage, rarely will you see two families coming together and actually agreeing. Why? Because these two families are totally different. And the example that I normally use when it comes to in-laws, Ellie, to explain the dynamics. I have 5 siblings. We are not the same. Same father, same mother, same family. We are not the same. We are totally different. Some of us are quiet, others are loudmouths like Nyokabi, others take issues too seriously. We
But
like
it's
to get
true.
into
Uko na
fights.
mdomo sana Nyokabi, it's true. Okay, mdomo mzuri ya kuongea.
You have hurt my feelings, Ellie, na tuko live. Sema pole.
Honorable members, that should be removed from the handset of the parliament. I apologize and withdraw.
Honorable members, share your thoughts about that particular comment. So what I'm saying, Ellie, we cannot be the same. So when these parents are telling you we don't want you to marry this particular person, can they be able to give you reasonable reasons as to why they don't want this particular person? And do those reasons make sense to you? Because it's also dangerous to marry somebody out of rebellion. At you're rebelling against your parents just to show them, hamutaniletea nyinyi, hamutaniambia who I'm going to marry. So you end up marrying the wrong partner.
I
Have
even
a
tell you it's
conversation with
mine.
these
It's mine.
parents.
I decide what I want to do with it.
Ama
I've
you
had
don't know
those.
this.
I've had those stories.
Ama Eli, you start saying you don't know this person. You don't know this
You
person. You
don't
know
know
you're the
this
only one.
person.
Unajua bedroom matters. When you hear somebody saying, yeah, amjui huyu mtu, those are
Amjui
bedroom
mtu.
matters. Amjui huyu mtu. Those are normally bedroom matters. Eli, ukiona ameanza kusema ati ajui kupika, nyinyi amjui. Ati ajui
Amjui.
kufua nguo, amjui. Ati ajui
Amjui.
kuosha nyumba, amjui. So when they are refusing this person, what
Yeah.
reasons are they giving you?
Yeah.
Are they valid? Do they hold value to you as a person? Are they reasons that you can sit and think about? But let nobody sit there and tell you that you can't marry a particular person. Why? Ati kwa sababu ni Mkikuyu, or because ni mweupe na huku kwetu hatutakangi wanawake weupe, or the reasons that I personally went through. Oh,
Mm.
she speaks too much English. The
Mm.
other one was, oh, she wears very high heels. How will she be able? What
Wait,
else? What have
Iggs,
heels? What have
this
heels
this
got to
this
do with?
this English that we sometimes we eat bananas, they were looking it as intimidation. Those people, I must talk to them. Your
My
in-laws need
friend,
some
it
salvation.
was a problem. It was a problem. It was a problem. Like you
Too
speak
much
too much.
English. Too
Yes.
much
Just that now I don't even speak English. Now I just speak English.
English.
Yes,
English
I speak.
with a
I
rish.
stopped speaking. I speak English. I stopped speaking English because you see, these are some of the challenges that in-laws will give you. So
Yep.
when you think about, when you hear your parent out, because again, we are not going to slander parents, and we are not going to negate their value in our lives and the
Mm.
input they bring into our lives. So sit down and have a real conversation with this parent and ask
Mm.
them, okay, I hear you. You don't like Nyokabi. Why?
Why?
And don't be
Before
ready to justify.
before we answer the why in your Nyokabi, let's get to the comment section. Let's appreciate everybody that is watching, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is, of course, Late Night with Ellie and GK Nyokabi Kamau. We do this every single Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. East African time, which is 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Central European Summertime. So we are here and we are discussing about no man shall put asunder. For all of you that have read the good book, you know how the saying and the good things go, cause don't go unbroken and everything. But there's always these strange in-law traits that come to some families that some of you decide to walk into. So in the comment section, we have Deisma Classic. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we have Anne Lumasai say, they just do not like your future wife. That could be one of the reasons. And Zena goes and says, marriage is beautiful when you choose to ignore your stubborn in-laws. I don't know how much you can ignore them. I wish you well. Victorian Kaka
Good
goes
luck.
ahead and says, but it is being, but is being a wife or husband represented by the outside? Taking care of yourself shouldn't be a problem, and being dismissed by one's family prior to showing your qualities and that you can be a proper partner it really creates a prejudice and not proper reasons.
You see,
What-
Ellie,
Mhm.
Nikata is very right because it is about your character as a person and your inner being, who you are as a person within yourself, more
Mm,
than it is about the physical appearance. But you
mm,
see, with in laws, they get to meet you because of the person who has fallen in love with you.
yeah.
They don't know you, they have not interacted with you. By the visual sight, already they have drawn a judgment because you're
Mm,
different and you're also an outsider. So, by virtue of the fact that you're different and you're an outsider, already judgment has been placed on you. And people will look for reasons to point a finger like this, Ellie, and
I will
say,
tell you
oh,
more of those reasons as we go ahead because I want to share the real example life. At the same time, we have Barry McCory who says to me, even an arranged marriage sometimes issues of this like crops up. I
yes,
agree. And why
I
is it
agree.
people are so stubborn? Why do you forget to put in the hashtag at in heart? I will show you how we put that hashtag because I think you forgot. I'll remind you. I will
Ellie
remind
has a whip. Ellie has a whip. The whip is out. The whip is out.
Okay, mine. I don't swipe it every time that whip.
Unajua Ellie, you're a man and
Yes.
you cannot be able to multitask. So wacha niweke hii ingine.
Mhm.
So this is who? This is Anne. She's saying some parents eh? Never think your choice of a wife or spouse is acceptable. That's because you're
Mhm.
their child. You'll always be a baby to them. So they'll always have an opinion about who you date, how you date them, when you date them, why you date them, where
Mhm.
you found them. Your
Yeah.
parents will always have an opinion about that. I love this comment that is saying that Ellie, we have someone here who is saying that Belly is saying this conversation is as real as it can be. We appreciate you. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for your beautiful comments. We have another comment here that is saying that they looked at nails, heels, and what? And it was a problem. Where?
The
Nikata.
English.
Hey, the
She,
English, the
she,
English.
had- she had to download to be English from English.
I have to downsize, and it was a real problem, by the way. It was a problem that almost ended into a conversation. So let's keep those comments going, Ellie. Let's keep those comments going. So have you posted the hashtag?
Yeah, there it is. Kindly engage us with the hashtag at in heart, alternatively responding to
Mm.
live. So the topic of discussion we are discussing no man shall put asunder. And why am I using this word? Because we are talking in a context of an existing official
Mm.
marriage. Okay.
Yes.
Whatever you choose to call official, it's your own business. But I'm talking of an existing arrangement of a relationship. It could be whatever and whatever, civic or religious. But you have these in laws, especially parents, who refuse to acknowledge that the two of you have decided to come together and do that Christian mathematics that they say becomes one. I
Yes.
still do not understand that arithmetic, but that is what they call it. So,
Mhm.
Nyokabi,
Yes.
let's get here a little bit involved. Most of the time, and
Yes.
it is based on what I saw from the village I come from. When a
Yes.
lady arrived in her home,
Yes.
your grandmother, who was very old and scary by looks, not because she's a scary wife or mother, it's because age has taken toll of her, will look
Yes.
at your girlfriend and demand her to go and fetch water from the rivers
Yes.
just to prove she's wife enough.
Yes.
What do you make of such stances, Nyokabi?
Well, when it comes to that generation of parents, Ellie, what we need to understand is the gender roles were very well defined when it comes to that generation of parents, our grandparents, our mothers. The gender role definition begins to shift with our mothers because they're the ones who started getting educated, they started voting, and they started working and actually getting formal employment. So the dynamics of gender roles began to change with our parents. But when you look at our grandparents, when it came to the wife role and the husband role, they were clearly defined. And the wife was domesticated. She was zero grazing there at home with the donkeys and the sheep and the cows. And the husband was out there doing their manly thing and bringing in the bread and the butter into the home. So when they would ask for you to go and fetch water, they were looking to see how capable are you as a woman to play the role of a wife. How obedient were you? How vigil were you? How fast were you to go and get the water and come back? In the world we are living in today, Ellie, if I come to your village and you send me to go and to get water, Sasa, it's not going to be applicable. So today
Mm,
they are looking at different things. They are looking, if you go to a family where they are well learned and they are well educated, there are people who value education, they look at how educated are you. They look at what are your family values. They look at your family in general, right, Ellie?
mhm,
They look at, do you come from a Christian family? What kind of a family do you come from? What's the name of your family? These are some of the things that they look out to test and see whether you fit into their family, whether you fit into their questions, whether you answer their questions, whether you meet their needs for the kind of a person they want into their family, right? So these are
mhm.
some of the reasons that they would make you do some of those things early. Go out there, fetch water. Some of us in our Kikuyu community, one of the tasks was fetching water. The other one was wokiosoro. Wokiosoro is what, Eli? Sasa watu kama wewe. Wokiosoro, people tell me there in the comments below, what do we call this
Let's
wokiosoro in
let's
English?
call them Saranjonjo. You are here to translate and help us. Akina Shishwin, if you are there, I know the American can help us through. Kipro Roda happens to have also some influence of the Kikuyu. Kindly help us. Okiosoro was the word, and every
Yes,
other person joining us, kindly help us understand Okiosoro because it's giving Nyokabi a hard time.
trouble. Yes, to
Trouble,
explain.
trouble,
So some
and
these were some of the tests, the most important task to a woman that if
yeah.
you could fulfill them or you could not fulfill them. So these are some of the tests that they will take you through. In the generation we are living in today, they look at you physically. They look at your physical appearance. How are you dressed? Because you will be approached or you'll be addressed the way you're dressed. How are you carrying yourself? What mannerism are you working with? Where do you stand matters religion. Where do you stand matters politics. It's something that has become rampant in this country.
Yeah.
People care. Which political team are you for? Are you a Republican or a democratic? They need to know where do you stand. So these are some of the things that now families are looking out for. And they ask you, when it comes to matters children, how many children do you want? How many children do you want to have? And these are questions that families really have no business asking, if you ask me as a relationship coach, because this is a question between me and the person who we want to get together with. Because after all, we will be building that family together. We'll be living that life together. So some of these challenges that families bring up for me, I feel they're neither here, they're neither there, unless as a community
Mhm.
there is a taboo if you marry into a particular community, because there's a history that happened before that led the elders to respond in a particular way. When I say that, I'm talking about our cultural differences, our traditional differences. Like, for example, the rites of passage. Like now, for example, when it comes to issues burial, when it comes to matters childbirth, when it comes to issues naming of children. So these are some of the things that should weigh in a union, even long before you bring in the parents. You need to ask yourself, are you willing to shave your hair when somebody passes on? Are you willing to have the body of this person in your house when somebody passes on? Are you willing to go through their process of how they do their burial rites? You know, when it comes to issues, weddings, how do you go about your union rights? You know, when you think about some of this, these are some of the things that can really bring a strife between in-laws and family. So these are some of the reasons, Ellie, that parents will refuse a particular person to come into their family. The other thing, Ellie, the elephant in the room, single mother or single father.
Oh, the single mothers, oh, the single mothers, oh, the single fathers, oh, the single fathers, we can, We're going to talk about that after this break. And remember, you are watching Late Night with Nyokabi, GK Kamau, and you was truly Lekuyani Eli. We'll be right back after the break. Yes, we are back, and of course, you're watching the Late Night with Likuyani, Eli, and Nyokabi, GK Kamau. Remember, the show is every single Wednesday right here on the Arts in Heart, courtesy of the Arts in Heart. I want to go cross over to Nyokabi, who is seated there, and she tells me she wants us to dive into the solutions. But first things first, before we left you, we were talking about the single father's nation. Father Abraham.
Unaona mpaka Roda ameanza waiting about the single mothers and single fathers.
Father Abraham, and so are you. So let
us praise the Lord. Right hand, left hand. So, Ellie, we are talking about the single parents. This is an issue for in-laws. This is an issue, especially if you're coming in with a son, Ellie. You're coming in with a son who is going to earn the right to inherit in that particular family. It's a problem. It's a problem. You're coming in with a daughter. How will they handle this issue of a daughter when it comes to issues, marriage, matters of dowry, matters of these things? These are some of the things that really bring a strife and an issue with in-laws when you're choosing to marry a particular person. But the question I always ask these couples is, have you had candid conversations about these things? Because most people just think they're in the love. They're in love. They're in a cloud. They're feeling it. You know, they're high on love. They're releasing the hormones for love. So they are not really having candid conversations about the true issues that can really cause a strife in the relationship. If the two of you have talked about this child, you know where the father or the deadbeat, whether he's a deadbeat dad or he's a present father, you have had a conversation about this child. You have discussed, are you adapting this child in to become your own child? How are you going to be related? If the two of you have come to an understanding, then what you need to do with the other family members and in the in-laws is to set those boundaries. Let them know we have had candid conversations. And when I talk about candid conversations, I'm not talking about atijuju, do you accept my daughter, or do you love my son? Of course, the person will say yes because they're in love with you and they want the relationship to move to the next step. I am talking about
na maziwa yake na ndama.
I am talking about candid conversations, authentic conversations, real conversations
So, what are
about.
some of the questions you're supposed to address,
These
Nyokabi?
are the ones I want to highlight. Number one, you want to discuss the education of this child. Where does the education of this child stand as you as a person? You want to discuss the issue discipline. Will you take it personally if I slap your child because the child is not mine na uliingia kwa hiyo ndoa na huyu mtoto, or you'll start saying wewe unaslapping mtoto wangu because ni wangu peke yangu? This child, what are we going to let this child know? How are we going to involve this child in the relationship? How are you coming in? Are you coming in to co-parent with me? Are you coming to bring up this child with me? Are you coming to take up the task of this child? Discuss hard things like religion. This child, their father is a Catholic, me, I'm an Anglican. What's going to happen?
Mm,
Right, the father is present, he wants to be involved with this child. What are the legal arrangements, or what are the conversations that you have had? How does the father of this child come in? Are we going to build up to build a blended family, or what's going to happen between the two of you, Ellie? These are some of the questions that you need to ask each other when it comes to matters in laws, when it comes to inheritance. You see, when it comes to issues inheritance, discuss them. This person is an outsider, is not born of this family, is not named after any of my family members. So how are we going to deal with the issue inheritance? How will we tell this child that they cannot inherit from this particular community because they don't belong? If you're a Kikuyu, if there are rights that need to be done so that this child can actually come in and become your child, if there are legal obligations that need to be met so that this child can officially become your own, are you willing to go the 9 yards with me? These
mhm,
are the questions, Ellie, that you need to ask when it comes to single fatherhood and single motherhood. Single fathers, ask this woman, how will you treat this child? Because if you abuse this child, if you frustrate this child, I will have a problem with that. I am trusting you
yeah,
to
yeah,
come in and play a significant role in the life of this child. These are conversations that men don't have to fear talking about them with the woman that they are bringing into the life of this child. Ask them, you know, have these conversations. Don't be afraid. When it comes, if I come in with a daughter, Ellie, and I've brought you a daughter that looks like me, that is as beautiful as me, I need to ask, how do you see my daughter? Do you see her as a woman, or do you
mm.
see her as a daughter? You know, have these conversations, Ellie. Ndio mtu
Nyokabi,
asianze.
interesting one here, and thank you so much, Innocent, for equally joining us tonight. And Innocent says he's happy and relieved that the in-laws no longer exist because if they did, the stories he hears about couples, oh. And Kipro goes ahead and says that in heart, responding to live, in-laws think just because you have a child, you are not suitable for their children or their
Yes,
son or daughter.
yes,
And I don't know why this is always a point of departure, Nyokabi. Why does it have to be a point of interest? Is it because of the inheritance, as you've mentioned? Is it because
yes,
the fact that they feel like you have an outsider with them raised to power too coming in? Why is it supposed to be a problem when there's a child involved in that relationship? Because
Ellie.
as things have evolved over time, Nyokabi,
Yes,
I beg
yes,
to express this, that sometimes it becomes even more interesting to have that which that has a child, because from where they go, people say, we are assured of a generation, because then if
yes,
there's something not happening, then they can ask their son, what is happening over here?
yes,
I don't
yes.
know, that's my very biased opinions.
Well, it's not a biased opinion, but if you look at things from an in-law perspective,
Yeah.
if you can try to understand them, to logicalize what they do, their actions that are very ungodly, we are looking at this woman has come in with a child. This
Hmm.
child, especially I'll use my Kikuyu community because I am a Kikuyu person. So this
Yeah.
child they have gotten their name from where they were
Hmm.
born, right? They
Yeah.
have got their rights from where they were born. When it comes to issues burial, it's going to be very challenging. These are some of the issues that families don't want to deal with. The rights that I'm talking about, or your way, or your tradition, or your way of life as a community. So when you're bringing in this child into this family, how are you bringing in this child into this family? How are they coming in? Which role are they going to play? What is their place? The big challenge that in-laws have is the place of this child. Mumeleta mtoto muzima amekuja na miguu yake mbili na macho na masikio na anakuja kutoshea wapi? We
Hmm.
already don't have enough space. So where does this child come in, and how does this child come in? So these are the questions that in-laws normally don't know how to ask, so they respond badly, and they put and they act badly around this child because they don't know what it means, Ellie. And already bringing in another person from outside is a problem by itself. They have to learn how to accept this person the way they are. They have to learn how to live with this person. Sasa ongeza umeleta mtoto mwingine hapo, they have to tell their cousins, unajua huyu alikuja na huyu ni kazini yako, lakini ni kazini yako by marriage, not by can you see the complication of the conversation, Ellie? You're
So
trying to
are
explain,
they supposed to swallow that child in Nyokabi? What are they supposed to be with the child? Because
and
now
that's
let's
why.
focus on the solution, because we have too many problems. I cannot even comprehend all of them.
Now, the first thing that we will do, Ellie, number one, is to have authentic conversation with the person that you're getting married to. Have an understanding. Put everything on the table, everything naked, withholding nothing, literally withholding nothing. Every fear that you have about the bringing up of this child, put it on the table. Discuss it candidly. If you cannot be able to do it on your own, involve a professional. That's why we have professional counselors. That's why we have coaches. That's why I have these people in business, so they can help you discuss this thing candidly and openly. Once the two of you have agreed to jump the river, jump all the way. Make all the right decisions, because you can also adopt a child from a children's home and embrace this child, and they become your own and they inherit from you. So if the two of you are in agreement and have an understanding, then I don't see what the problem is. Now, once you have an understanding, it is easier to go on a journey, Ellie, if we have an agreement. So the journey that you're going to take is to make it clear to the relevant people. This child is coming in as my daughter, as my son. I have embraced them. They are going to be part of my life. And I would request you to also do the same. I know it will
So,
take time, but give them the time to accept that. So the first thing is for the two of you to go on a journey together.
wow. Okay. That is first
Ellie.
thing when there is a child involved, right?
Yes,
That is a
yes.
child involved. When there are children involved,
Ellie, the story is the same. The story
the
is the
stories, it
same.
could be the same, but you see, it could be, Nyokabi, let us not talk as if you're speaking from planet Mars. These things
Yes,
are happening on planet Earth. You'll
yes,
find you are so much in love with a woman who has children that you can say, or a man who has children that we say, picky, picky, ponky, father had a donkey.
yes.
Different father, different mother, and it's a problem. How? I mean, try give us a formula that works.
The formula, I think the formula that works is what I'm saying, Ellie. This is what I'm saying. The two of you, once you agree, whether it is one child, it's three children, 3.5 children, it's about understanding each other and agreeing what you're going to do. I have seen blended families that work very well. I know of a couple that is very close to me, that the man came with 3 children, the woman came with 3 children, and together they have 3 children of their own. In fact, I used to tell them the threes. I call them the threes because kila mtu ako na tatu tatu na baba
Not
wote
a
wako na
threesome,
tatu.
not a threesome. So,
Ni watu
but
wa
you see, the
threesome.
problem is,
And the family works.
Nyokabi, you've said it
Yes,
clearly. This, you're not answering my question, or either you are avoiding my question. Thing
I
is,
am.
you have a father who
Yes,
has, and I was singing a song, you didn't take it so seriously, about Father Abraham, who had so many sons. One of them
yes.
was Isaac, the other one was, I don't know, Ishmael. And they're all, and then it's coming all through. Yeah, it was Ishmael and Isaac.
Yes,
I've already went there. So the thing is, I'm talking about a situation that this man or woman, they have children from different other relationships.
yes,
And it gets even more complicated, because it was okay that we already had one child to deal with, but now you have 3 or 4, and all of them have a different registration number behind them,
yes.
if you understand what I'm trying to point at. So
I know what you're saying. What I'm saying is, Ellie, let me paraphrase and make sure we are communicating, because we are always teaching our
exactly.
people here on Wednesday. What you're saying is, Ellie, I have come with 3 children, and each of those children has 3 different fathers.
Mhm.
Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
So how do we deal with that situation? Children are children. Whether they have different fathers, different mothers,
that's the
children
answer
are
I
children.
wanted to hear.
Yes, watoto ni watoto. Mtoto wa pusi ni mtoto wa pusi. There is no any na mtoto wa
Hebu rephrase, mtoto wa paka ni wa paka, hii pusi mi sijui.
mtoto. Eli, leo ni Wednesday. Today
Na
is
ni Wednesday,
Wednesday.
yes, sio
Today.
Saturday. It's
Yes, today is
okay, it's PG
Wednesday.
rated. Oh, okay, sawa.
Today is Wednesday. So
Okay.
mtoto ni mtoto, Eli. A child, it doesn't matter who the father is, or whether they have different fathers or they have different mothers. A child is a child, and a child plays the same role, and nothing makes the child to be devalued. Nothing takes away from a child. Just because I have a different father, it doesn't mean that I'm more valuable or less valuable. Or just because I have a present father, Eli, and one doesn't have a present father, has a deadbeat father, it doesn't take away from a child is a child. And again, it comes back to the couple that has decided to come together and get married. Ellie, let's talk about in-laws. Aki, we have 15 minutes.
Yes, and I'm talking about in-laws because you see, the in-laws are the ones that will point at those children with some accusing fingers.
Yes.
Fine,
How do
let's
you
not.
protect?
Yeah, exactly. Because I also want to find one more last one on this complicated situation. I'll call it complicated because it is not as easy as ABC. Nyokabi, I
Mhm.
come there, as I said, I have different fathers and different
Yes,
mothers involved in the circle. Do you think the first point of interest for these in-laws you're going into would be, do these children and their fathers interact? And if they interact, what does it end with the child, or mother is part of the bracket? Do you think it's always a point of concern?
it is a point of concern, and it should be a
How
point of
should you,
concern.
as a man or woman, address that then?
Set boundaries. Set healthy boundaries. How do you set those boundaries? I separate my relationship with you, Ellie, and your
Mhm.
relationship with the children. When it comes to your relationship with the children, it is your relationship with the children. You come, you pick your children at a particular time, and you drop them off at the agreed time
Mm.
respectfully and leave.
Usikuje
Right?
kwa nyumba yangu na tawe
Eh,
nimejifunga asubuhi,
ati kama huwa
ati umekuja
nakupata huko umekaa huko tu
nakupata na t-shirt ingine hivi
unajivijali
imekata
ati
imefika
I
wewe
came to see my children. Boundaries.
kwa
Set
mlango ya bwana
healthy.
mwingine.
Yes, set healthy boundaries. This is how I look at boundaries, Ellie.
Usitoe sauti,
when
kunywa
I
maji.
when I'm talking about boundaries in a relationship, I'm talking about building a perimeter wall.
Yeah.
When you build a perimeter wall around your marriage, whether if you decide to build a live wall, or if you decide to build a brick wall, or whichever form of a wall you build, the
Even the
material
one of
is.
Jericho.
Yes, the material is determined by the understanding that you have with your partner. The material that builds the wall is determined by the partner that you have together and what you are looking to achieve. What's the purpose of the perimeter wall? Is it to prevent intrusion? Is it to keep people out? Is it just to mark your perimeters and your territory? So the purpose of that wall, the material will determine how you build it. Now, the thing about perimeter walls is that if the perimeter wall has to be functional, there has to be either one entry point or two entry points. And that one entry point or that two entry points has a purpose and has a function. When it comes to setting boundaries with your in-laws or with your relatives or friends or even your colleagues or anybody you're in a relationship with, or somebody who you're co-parenting with, or the person who you're in a blended family with, when it comes to building the perimeter wall, which is now setting the relationship boundaries, you decide the entry point together and you agree this will be the entry point. And this entry point, you will access it if you do one, two, three things, and the door will be open for you and the door will be shut. This is the thing about boundaries that people don't understand. You think because it is your mother, you don't need to have boundaries. Your mother can just come to your house whenever they want. That is a toxic relationship. You think because it is your sister, you don't need to have boundaries. They can come and sleep over whenever they want, or they can come and fix an item from your house and leave. That is a toxic relationship. Every healthy relationship, either in-laws, colleagues, or whichever relationship you're in, requires perimeters. It requires boundaries. If you comply by those, when you set those boundaries, and the material is determined by the purpose of those boundaries, then the other person on the other side knows when to access and when not to access. And when you set the perimeter wall, it means the other person needs permission to come to where you are. If you are to visit my home, I have a perimeter wall and I have a gate. Just because you have gotten to where my home is, it doesn't mean that you will get in unless you call me or you ring the bell for somebody to open the gate for you to get in. So these are the boundaries that we are setting. The terms and conditions apply. So if we are in a blended family, we have come in with different children. Which are our perimeters? How are we operating as a family? And these are the conversations that people don't have when it comes to matters in-laws, parents, when it comes to parents, siblings, aunties and uncles, the other relatives. How do we relate with them? What are the perimeters that we have set around us as a couple? What can we allow them to say and not say to the other? When it comes to addressing issues that are affecting both of us in the relationship, the primary relationship is the person who comes forward and addresses the issue. When I say about the primary relationship, I'm talking about the person who is related to the in-laws that are raising the concern. For example, when it comes to my side of the family, I'm the primary relationship. So it is my face they will see. Why? That is the boundary. That is the perimeter wall to protect my partner from them. And I don't want them to know my partner when he's angry. I don't want them to know my partner when he's emotional. So I'm the one who will be at the picture, the primary relationship, and tell them the gate has been closed. You cannot access. So when it comes to in-laws, is about setting those boundaries. Any relationship, including couples. Let me just put it out there because this is a relationships coaching session. When even couples need boundaries, they need those perimeters so that we understand one another. I know what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy, what interferes with you, what upsets you, what pleases you, what doesn't please you, so that we avoid those unnecessary crashes that come out of lack of boundaries and lack of understanding. So set those healthy boundaries with your in-laws. Let them know and let the primary person or the primary contact address the issue and tell them, you know what, this person has a child but ni wangu, mimi ndo nimechagua yeye na mkia yake, na hiyo mkia haijanishinda, and in fact nitaishonelea ikuwe permanently part of me and part of my family and my nuclear family. Whether mkia ni mbili ama ni tatu ama ni nne, it doesn't matter. A child is a child. When the primary relationship addresses the conflict, it resolves and dissolves the matter, even without realizing. They are not able to attack and vent and throw all the grenades and the bombs at the person because it is their person. So they'll just sit there and listen. Alafu huko chini chini wanaanza kusema hiki kimeanza kucontrol brother yetu, but they cannot do much because they can't be able to reach you. Kimemkalia, amemkalia kama chapati, hata naona ni kama alimpea dawa. Kwao nilisikia ni waganga. Let them say what they need to say, but they will not reach the secondary relationship because the primary relationship is at the forefront. Ellie,
I want us to sing a song so that we can involve the rest.
Yes.
In the key C major, it says, chaguo lako ni chaguo lako. Huyo ni chaguo lako. Chaguo lako. Huyo ni chaguo lako. Chaguo lako. So nobody should put asunder on your choice.
Nobody
it's your issue. It is their issue, not. Fix your life, fix it by yourself. Let's go to the comment section, Nyokabi, because people want to get involved in this conversation. And Nyokabi, Kipro is our keyboard warrior. Unataka kusema kitu? Ebu enda kenye umeona basi, wanzie mali umeona.
Wacha nikuweke hapa penye nimeona Eli. Kuna mtu hapa nimeona amenipata na amejaribu sana, ameweka hashtag, ameweka art in heart. Eli, why you removing my highlight? Anasema Nyokabi, boundaries. Nyokabi GK also realize that we said kids are called children, but my husband told me to relax about that thing, but they're children, they're not baby goats, have grown and are now independent. Some choices have to be made without involving them. Like which ones? If they are grown up and they are now independent, why we have a segment for parenting every Saturday and we talk about these things early. And we say, Sarah, let's not fear our children. Let's have authentic conversations with especially these grown-ups. Let's sit them down and tell them which are the decisions that you have made. Because now the issue that Sarah is talking about here, Ellie, if you can give me 1 minute, is the issue of marriage. Sasa Nyokabi amedecide kuolewa, and the father who brought me up is not my biological father, and I have gone to look for my biological father to come in and play the role of a father. And now my mother and the father who brought me up are bitter. And they are saying, oh, sai ndio umejua uko na baba. Saa zile ulikuwa unaenda shule na hakuwa anakupatia kitu, hakuwa anajua wewe ni mtoto.
Hata duruari ya ndani, hajui.
Hata umeshinda roto. Saa zile umeshinda roto. Ndio umekuwa mtoto. Hakuwa anajua. So these are some of the things, Sarah, we are saying that have conversations with your parents, authentic conversations. Sit down with these children, let them know and set those boundaries. Let them know it is okay to involve your biological parents, because at the end of the day, that is your biological parents. But this is how you will go about it. You will remain respectful to
Mhm.
us because we are also your parents. These are the perimeters. This is where you walk. This is where you toe the line. Have the conversation, but allow them to express themselves. What about in a situation where you never set boundaries, but now you want to start? How do you go about it? Thank you so much, Mimi, for that question. Oh, hi, Mimi Kamanda. Oh, welcome so much. Thank you so much for joining me in the show. What you do when you want to start setting boundaries is that you agree and you start small. You
Mhm.
start with a simple goal that you can be able to achieve. For example, you agree on good things, not necessarily bad things. For example, you agree that in the case of death, as a family, the Kamau family will be removing 1,000 Kenyan shillings from
Mhm.
whichever side of the family, and you set it as a goal and you agree. So if somebody happens to die, God forbid, bad example, you give that
Oh,
1,000 shillings.
that's a very good example because Corona is taking
And
everybody every single week in my family. We always have somebody that has died or is planning to die.
or is planning to die. So then what you do is that now you allow the primary relationship to come forward. You let them know we have contributed this 1,000. But once you have let the primary relationship come forward, let the secondary relationship be the one to release the finances so that these people know that you have done it together. So that is one way of doing that. So yes, boundaries are very important at heart in heart responsible. Responding to life. Oh, Nikata. Hashtag future in-laws. Awesome, Rhonda. We wish you all the best as you find your in-laws. We pray
Mhm.
that they will be good in-laws. They will be saved.
And if you don't find, come to me. I'll introduce you to interesting ones. That's why we are coaching. Okay,
Tumepitia,
fine. Tumeona,
tumepitia,
tumeona.
tume,
And there
tu,
was Sam Guia who says, watching us from Driving Club Zanzibar, Tanzania. So much. Thank you, Sam Guia, for joining us tonight. We appreciate you, sir. Let's go a little bit further, Nyokabi.
yes.
There was this question here.
Mm,
And we would just want to actually try and sample all some questions. We cannot sample all of them, but
yes,
for what time allows us. How do you, as a couple, though not yet married, say to
yes.
each other's family that you are in a relationship and it's long distance? Kindly go to our long distance relationship that we did 2 weeks ago, and we have some of those answers there. But thank you so much for your contribution. We have all this material recorded in that past. Or head on to YouTube, get the Arts in Heart official, and you'll be able to watch that. We have the playlist for you. Ama namna gani Nyokabi? Or you want to say something about it?
Wacha waende watutafute kwa social media, watatupata huko. Find us
And
there.
some
Yeah,
people will be
after
saying, but
that,
iko wapi, iko wapi? This is sorry. I'll make it a little bit easier so that people can be able to find out where they can get our past material. That is, you can join us on Facebook. That is the Arts in Heart, or if you type in the Arts in Heart, the automatic name that comes in is Likuyani Eli, and on your YouTube is the Arts in Heart official. We have all that you're asking in the playlist. Tumeiarrange vizuri sana in the category of late night. You'll get all that there, all arranged for you. Okay, so go there and you'll be able to enjoy that material. Nyokabe,
yes,
we have 3 minutes. I want you to take
yes.
them to speak wisdom. And DJ Kamsi Hypotenuse, thank you so much for joining. And he says, ndoa ni ya wangapi? Na
Wawili.
ikiwezekana watatu. Okay, that's something else.
Watatu ni nani sasa? Ni
Sasa
Mungu
kama
ama
uko na
ni
kama wewe ni mtu mwenye uko kama, wacha nisiongelee hapa.
Eli?
Nyokabi, what have you eaten today? They are asking you because you are
By the
looking
way,
snackish.
let me tell you, Ellie, today I love talking about in-laws because people see in-laws to be very big monsters. And you have told
Mm,
me to deliver wisdom about in-laws. And
yeah.
this is what I want to say. When you look at in-laws as a woman or as a man, because mostly women are the ones who face challenges with their in-laws, look at them like the way you look at your brothers and your siblings. You see the way you don't get along with your brothers and your siblings, that is the same reason you don't get along with your in-laws. And it's even worse with your in-laws because they have to accept you, they have to love you. You have been imposed and forced into their life. So when you expect to have a smooth relationship with your in-laws, you're setting yourself up for failure. Unfortunately, that is the truth of the matter. When you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, they should love me the way their son loves me, oh, they should love me the way their daughter loves me, my friend, you're setting yourself up for failure. Always look at your in-laws the way you look at your siblings. The same dynamics that you go through with your siblings, with your relatives, with people who are actually in your family, then is the same dynamics that you will go through with your in-laws. That is tip number one for surviving your in-laws. Tip number two, set the boundaries. Mark your perimeters, make them clear, stand by them. Whether they are acceptable, they are unacceptable, whether they make you seem ni kama umekalia sijui nani, or like you people decided to isolate and alienate yourselves, it doesn't matter. Stand by your boundaries. Have a core understanding. Speak one voice as a couple. Always negotiate. Always sit together and have conversations as a couple. I don't know how couples go years and years without talking to each other. Take each other out for dinner and just have a conversation. Understand where each person stands when it comes to issues helping family, when it comes to issues weddings, when it comes to issues death, when it comes to issues contributing for Christmas money, when it comes to issues visiting one another and staying over and sleeping over and sending children and picking children. All these things that play very key roles in parenting and in marriage. Have a clear understanding when it comes to issue religion and rights of the things that you do as a community and your way of life. When it comes to issues dress codes and hairstyles and hair colors and nails, some of these things that you see them to be very minute, but they can be very major. When it comes to issues driving, who should be driving home, who should be doing this, all those things. When it comes to issues ownership of property and inheritance and co-owning of things, have these conversations with your partner. What happens to me because you have built in your father's land when you die? Because at some point somebody is going to coof. So have these conversations. What happens to me? Am I supposed to pack my things and live with my children? Have these conversations so that it helps you stay balanced and it helps you deal with your in-laws from a sober perspective, from a sober mind. And when you come out together, you come out with one voice.
Yeah.
Mkisikizana that your sister is not sleeping over at your house, mumediscuss kwa bedroom na mumesikizana, mumesema so and so is not sleeping here, she's not going to be singing these songs in this house anymore. You speak one voice. When you agree that your mother-in-law, it's time for her to leave your house and go back to her husband or go back to the village, speak one voice. Always allow the primary relationship to address the issue. Protect the secondary relationship. Do not expose your partner. When it comes to issue gossiping, if you need to gossip your wife, please meet your boys in the club and gossip your wife. Don't go to your sister, don't go to your auntie, don't go to your closest uncle. That's why you have best couples to discuss each other about issues.
Man, let me
Ladies,
one man. Let me one man. Nyokabi has said something here that can be very dangerous to you. Never gossip your wife, girlfriend,
is a
or
figure of speech.
I know, but some of them will take it literally. So that's why I have to say it. Do not take it literally as she said it, because once you do that and you tell it to Kevo, the next day you'll find Kevo in your bedroom because you've told
Shirtless.
him the secrets.
Yes. So just that's why we have best couples early. And that's why you need a confident friend. You know why I said men? Because men don't discuss their issues. They keep quiet and then they stab their wives 22 times. Instead of stabbing your wife, just find somebody who are confident, you can walk the journey together, and preferably a couple. Walk this journey together. Don't discuss your partner with their family members or your family members, whichever side. And by the way, before nifunge hii kitu na nitoroke Eli,
Mm-hmm.
ladies, your sister-in-law is not your friend. She's your worst
Yeah.
enemy. She's worse than your mother-in-law. Please do not walk around, oh, my sister-in-law's doing it. She's your worse than your mother-in-law.
Wewe ni CIA wa ndugu wa
Always,
brada yako ya bwana yako.
always deal with them at a profession. Sasa tuite nini? Have relationship boundaries
At
with these
shoulder
people.
length ama ni hand length, sijui mnaitanga nini
Yes,
hivyo,
arm's length.
arms
Keep your
length.
relationship at an arm's length.
Nyokabe, people have asked you so many questions. Some
Yes.
of them I want to spare for the other shows because someone is asking me here, oh, Eli na polygamy. No, we are talking about the real society life. If you want a fake story, go find it in the blogs. We are talking of real stuff that is here. And then we have one Sarah Njonjo who asked you, Nyokabi, Mama's
Yes.
boy tufanye nini na wao? And I want you not to answer this in this setting because
Tufanye
we're gonna
Saturday
ask.
edition.
Yeah, no, we cannot do that there. That's family. Mama's boy tutuangojea hapa hapa. We'll look for them. Oh,
Tuko
my
na
mother
dawa.
has said this, my mother has said that. Not here.
Yes.
Tunaongeza volume. Um, let's call it a night for tonight, and thank you so
Yes.
much for everybody that came in. And we have another Friday show going down. Guess who are coming? Nyokabi,
Yes.
look at the playlist. Where Art in Heart,
Hey.
Music, Sense and Sense, featuring Aine Munala, Mutoria, the musician and producer, and of course, Shuchi Lumumba will be in the house.
Oh,
And
yes.
being hosted by the one beautiful Nyanduko 254.
Nyandus, 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 nyandus.
Exactly, Tora Nyandua.
Nyandus, nyandus, nyandus.
So let's make time. See you on Friday. Remember, the hashtag is Art in Heart as always, and of course, responding to live. Till next time, Nyokabi, watu wakupate wapi? Haraka haraka upesi.
Wanipata on Facebook Nyokabi GK Kamau. Please just follow this. The friend requests are full. Please just follow. I'll appreciate it. Remember to leave your questions and your comments on my page. I am also on LinkedIn Nyokabi GK Kamau. I'm on YouTube Nyokabi GK Kamau. We have very nice videos out there. Go check them out, share them, and watch them. I am also on Instagram Nyokabi GK Kamau. But if you're looking for a personal coaching session, a one-on-one interaction, my number is +254 780 810-987. You can always holler at me, send me a text message, and I will definitely respond. And yes, it's my number, and yes, it's on my phone, and yes, I'll be the one who is responding. Akizi maswali Eli tunaulizangwa. And don't forget to follow my friend Eli Likuyani ama Lukuyani at Heart in at in Heart. Follow him on Facebook, on YouTube, Art in Heart Official, ako huko LinkedIn, kila mahali, all social media platform, same name, same link page. Remember to share. And by the way, don't forget, on Saturday we have our family edition where we talk about matters family. We talk about parenting, co-parenting, how do we deal with teenagers and adolescents. We talk about all issues family. Don't miss it, because it will be on fire. So Ellie, before I go, let me appreciate each and every person that joined us today. You guys are awesome. This show would nimesahau TikTok. Hata TikTok Nyokabi
Niko
GK
TikTok
Kamau.
siku hizi, by the
Niko
way.
TikTok baba. Niko
Oh, pia
TikTok.
wewe.
Tuko ndani. Yes.
What are you shaking there?
What my mama gave me.
Yeah, I'm equally shaking what my father didn't give me.
Oh Jesus.
That's what my mother gave me, my shoulders. Sore bana ngama na sore amunda, sore bana mama sore amunda, daringa amunda, arero na komere munda, daringa amunda, arero na komere munda.
And then we should do a dance off. Ellie, let's do a dance off.
We will do.
Vote.
Now, guys,
Vote.
you know
Vote
the
for a
drill.
dance off.
You know the drill. You know the drill. Hit us up in the comment section. Continue sharing this page. Let's engage even further in the family edition on Saturday. Huko msilete hii kierere yenyu. Tubaki na hapa Wednesday. On Friday, we have the Art in Heart, where we are talking about music, sense, and sense. And of course, on the Saturday edition, Nyokabi and I will be taking us through co-parenting. And she decided we put it on a pause because she wants us to address something else. You know what is coming out? Stay tuned, because you'll be finding out. And on Sunday, we have Titu Garang to talk about her journey of recovery and becoming the healing ambassador in matters that you want to listen to. See you then. My name is Likuyani Elias. Always remember to follow, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Facebook page, and hata tuko TikTok saa hizi. See you next week,
Tuko
or
TikTok.
rather Friday. See you on
Tuko
Friday. Yeah.
ndani. Tuko
Tomorrow is my
TikTok.
day off. Tuko ndani. This has been real. Till next time.